So we're back with Thomas Cauvin speaking about his textbook, A Public History of Practice. Thomas has articulated the importance of practice. And one of the sections of the book, I think it's a section, is titled, or one of the chapters, chapter 4, is titled Collaboration, Expertise, and Authority, History with Publics. Thomas, this seems to fit with your larger sense of how public history is an act of practice. So could you say more about what it means to do work with publics?
I do think that the with is important, but let me start with publics, which is the last word of what you mentioned. There's a tendency to think about the public, and other scholars, other professionals in the museum field, for example, have been very aware that there's no such thing as the public, right? And we talk more about publics, and that there's not one single definition, there's not one single entity. We talk about groups, we talk about communities. So this is very important. But it also means that working with a public can be very different than working with another public, right? So this is something that we have to be aware when we work with. And working with is, for me, even more difficult than working for or working among. Working for can mean that communicating history to a broader public, people who are not expert in your field. And that's, communication. Doesn't mean it's easy, but I think it's easier than working with, because we're working with people who have different understanding of history, different agenda, different schedules. So it's quite complicated. And this was encapsulated in what Michael Frisch has called a shared authority, which is now a seminal book written in 1990. And Michael Frisch conceptualized it, shared authority, working with, based on oral history. And that works very well. The narrator works with the historian to make a story, to understand the past. The challenge is to replicate that on other projects, something that is not oral history. What does it mean to share authority, or to have a shared authority in an exhibition or in curating a collection? It is way more challenging. But I think this is the current ethical discussion that we need to have when we talk about public history. Whom are we working with? Whom are we not working with? How do you select whom you interview and whom you do not want to interview? Do you accept everything? Do people want to work with you? Sometimes we ask, should historians share authority? Most of the time, people don't need historians to communicate about the past. Just go on social media, people have opinions, people interpret the past without historians. So it's not only about, historians should be more humble and share authority with people. It's more about finding frameworks that allow the different publics, the different partners, the historians, but the curators as well, the media producers, all together to create a richer history. More challenging, yes, but richer. So the concept of shared authority is important, and it triggers some questions about who has expertise in interpreting the past. And by expertise, I mean, yes, trained historians, but not only. Public history is a collaboration, so trained historians can work with podcaster or YouTuber or people who have witnessed historical changes. So the idea of a shared authority is to work with people who have different expertise and to work towards a combined expertise, right? It's a knowledge exchange. It's not a knowledge transfer. So I think those concepts are part of the theories that we need to discuss when we do and practice public history.
Well, thanks for that. And the importance of collaboration, I think, is key and implied, but not quite, you didn't quite say it, but I like the idea that it's not the historian sharing authority, but sometimes it's the public sharing their authority with us. And I think it's an important idea for public history. So thanks for that brief explanation, and we'll move to another question.